Jai Krishna. So we have seen, along with Arjuna, the universal form of Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So now, having seen the universal form, Arjuna has some things in his mind. So as we have discussed already, in Bhagavad-gita we have got 18 chapters. The middle 6 chapters, chapter number 7 to 12, they are the chapters talking about the most important yoga system, that is Bhakti Yoga. 6th chapter ending, the last shloka, there Krishna said, Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate evaṁ samyayuktatamamataha. He said, those people who worship me with lot of love and devotion, who are united with me in devotion and devotional service, they are very dear to me. So there Krishna told that my bhaktās, my devotees, are very dear to me. Or bhakti is the topmost process. This was proved in that particular shloka. And then from 7th chapter onwards, all the verses related to devotional service started. Now what has happened is, 11th chapter, when we are discussing about the universal form, obviously when we hear about the universal form, there is a natural awe and reverence that comes in our heart along with fear. And all these aspects are not very conducive to bhakti. Bhakti is all about sentimental, emotional attachment to Krishna, love for Krishna. Obviously, after understanding Krishna, tattvataha, logically, siddhantically, establishing Krishna's position as absolute personality of Godhead, the supreme personality of Godhead. Now, so Arjuna, he wants to make sure that after seeing the universal form, we people shouldn't feel that this is absolute. This is what is the topmost form. So now Arjuna wants to re-establish the point that devotional service is the topmost thing. Bhakti yoga is above jnana yoga. So all these things he wants to establish now, because he wants to end the section of Bhakti yoga with intense aspects of devotional service, that is bhakti. So in 12th chapter, the first verse is the question that Arjuna is posting, and this particular question will be answered by Krishna throughout the chapter, and we will see that how just by going through this chapter, which is titled as devotional service, our mood of devotional service will intensify. So let's start. Shloka number 1, chapter 12. Arjuna uvāca evaṁ satata-yuktā bhaktās tvāṁ paryupāsate cāpy akṣaram avyaktaṁ teṣāṁ yoga-vittamāḥ. So here Arjuna is asking a question. What is that question? Teṣāṁ yoga-vittamāḥ? He is asking, who are considered to be more perfect? Now since he is asking who are considered to be more perfect, he has to give 2 options at least. So he is giving 2 options to Krishna. First one, evaṁ satata-yuktā bhaktās tvāṁ paryupāsate. So those, the first option is this, those who are always satata-yuktā, always engaged in your devotional service, paryupāsate. That is the first option. And second, cāpy akṣaram avyaktaṁ, and those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. So the question is, who are the most perfect ones? The ones who do devotional service all the time to the personal form of the Lord, of Lord Sri Krishna. And second option which Arjuna is giving is the ones who worship the impersonal feature of the Lord. So which one is the best? So we'll see what Krishna chooses in the next verse. But there are some important points that we can discuss here from Arjuna's question. Transcendentalists can be divided into 2 classes. So we have been discussing about this concept from maybe from many verses from previous chapters. So 2 types of transcendentalist. One is personalist, another one is impersonalist. So personalist, the devotee engages himself with all energy in service of Supreme Lord. So a personalist is always worshipping the Lord in devotional service. And second, the impersonalist also engages himself, but not directly in service of Krishna, but in meditation on the impersonal Brahman the unmanifested. So a personalist, he will meditate on the form of the Lord and he'll engage actively in service of the Lord by cooking for the Lord, dressing the Lord, doing arti, singing, and so on and so forth. So many other activities that all of us do on day-to-day basis. But the impersonalists are the ones who are indirectly worshipping the Lord by just doing one activity, that is meditation. Meditation on what? Meditation on unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead called Brahma Jyoti. Now here it is said that if one at all desires to have association of Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he must take to devotional service. Now, if someone is interested to attain Krishna, to get Sakshat Darshan of Krishna, to enter the pastimes of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, they have to practice bhakti. They cannot go on the path given by the impersonalists. Arjuna here is questioning which position is better. There are different ways to realize the absolute truth, but Krishna indicates in this chapter that bhakti yoga or devotional service to him is the highest of all. It is the most direct and it is the easiest means for association with Godhead. Now this is a very important point to note, that devotional service is the most easiest one. Now when we say easiest, we are comparing it with other yoga processes. Be it Jnana Yoga or before that Karma Yoga, then Jnana Yoga, then Ashtanga Yoga. All of them are very tedious. All of them have got prerequisite. But Bhakti Yoga anyone can do. Even a small child standing or hearing the Kirtan will start dancing, clapping the hands and singing the Mahamantra. So he is already practicing Bhakti. But a small child cannot do Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga or whatever. So that needs some qualification. And for that the prerequisite is the person should purify himself by doing various activities, and then he can start with Jnana Yoga and then do some Ashtanga Yoga and so on and so forth. Here it is said, in the second chapter of Bhagavad-gita, the Supreme Lord explained that the living entity is not the material body, he is spiritual spark. And the absolute truth is the spiritual whole. So we have discussed this elaborately in second chapter. We are not the body, we are spirit, soul, and the absolute truth is complete spirit. Spiritual whole. Now in 7th chapter he spoke of the living entity as being part and parcel of the Supreme Whole and recommended that he transfer his attention fully to the whole. So 2nd chapter we understood we are spirit souls, not the body. But now in 7th chapter more detail was given. We are spirit soul, but we are part and parcel of Krishna. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to focus on the whole. That is Lord Sri Krishna. Then in the 8th chapter it was said that anyone who thinks of Krishna at the time of quitting his body is at once transferred to spiritual sky, to the abode of Krishna. So at the end of life, if we think about the whole, the spiritual whole, that is Lord Sri Krishna, we go back to him. So as of now, we have an incompatible state. We are spirit souls in the material world. So we are struggling. Every single day is a struggle. But then when we break the cycle of birth and death by remembering Krishna at the time of death, we go to the spiritual world, a place which is very, very compatible, where we as spirit soul will be very happy and blissful and satisfied with the complete spirit that is Lord Sri Krishna. And then, at the end of the 6th chapter, the Lord clearly said that of all yogis, one who always thinks of Krishna within himself is considered the most perfect. So practically every chapter, the conclusion has been that one should be attached to personal form of Krishna, for that is the highest spiritual realization. So if we see everywhere, in every chapter, even in the future chapters we will see that Krishna, he makes a very emphatic point that worshipping the personal form, doing devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most perfect method. And now here it's given, nevertheless, there are those who are not attached to the personal form of Krishna. They are so firmly detached that even in the preparation of commentaries to Bhagavad-gita, they want to distract other people from Krishna and transfer all devotion to impersonal Brahma Jyoti. They prefer to meditate on impersonal form of the absolute truth, which is beyond the reach of the senses and is not manifest. So unfortunately, this is what is the thing that is happening all over the world. Instead of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his original form, somehow many commentators on Bhagavad-gita and other Vedic literatures, they have misdirected people from the personal form to the impersonal form. So many people naturally nowadays they believe saying Lord does not have a form. He is nirakar. He is nirvishesh. This is what people keep telling. But they don't understand nirakar means that not having any akar. That doesn't mean that not having any akar, not having any form. It means not having any material form. So nirakar means not having any material form. So it also implies that it does not have material form, but the Lord has got a spiritual form. Satchidananda Vigraha. And then here it's given. Now Arjuna is trying to settle the question of which process is easier and which of the classes is most perfect. In other words, he's clarifying his own position. Because he's attached to the personal form of Krishna, he's not attached to impersonal Brahman. He wants to know whether his position is secure. Now Arjuna is confused. Because he is attached to Krishna. And he is a devotee of Krishna. He is worshipping the form of the Lord as a person. But now he has a question that which one is actually proper, which one is perfect? The personal form, worship of the personal form, or worship of the impersonal form? So which one is proper? So he is a personalist. So if Krishna says that the other one is good, maybe he'll switch. So that's the reason he's asking the question. And finally, at the end, Prabhupada is saying here, actually one cannot perfectly conceive of the impersonal feature of absolute truth. Therefore, Arjuna wants to say, what is the use of such a waste of time? Arjuna experienced in 11th chapter that to be attached to the personal form of Krishna is best, because he could thus understand all other forms at the same time, and there was no disturbance to his love for Krishna. This important question asked of Krishna by Arjuna will clarify the distinction between the impersonal and personal conceptions of the absolute truth. So Arjuna has seen many things in the previous chapter, the huge universal form, and after that he saw the four-handed form, and then finally the original form of Krishna with two hands. And then he understood that this is the best one, this is the best one. But still let me once clarify with Krishna by giving him two options. Which one is better, O Krishna? The one who worships your personal form, being a personalist, or the one who worships you in your impersonal form, who are called as impersonalists? So tell me, O Krishna, which one is the most perfect one? And Krishna will answer this in the next shloka. So let's see that in the next video. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,